Folks, welcome to Around the Felt. Mock draft number 8 tonight, post NFL free agency. I'm your host, Reagan, joined by my co-host, Colin, and we're going to be doing a full 32-pick mock draft for the full entire first round now that we know a lot of the free agency signings at this point. But Colin, how are we doing, brother?
Doing great, man. It's good to be back. Shout out to Big G stepping in for me. I was traveling. I was in Dallas, Texas when free agency was really popping off. So shout out Big G stepping in for me, doing the free agency recap pod. But now it's time to do our updated mock draft with a ton of big moves happening, a lot of holes filled. I mean, all those mocks where we had Jeremiah Love going to the Saints or Chiefs, those can be ripped up now because both those teams signed the two top backs in the market. So it's nice to have a lot more clarity, but it's also like, damn, I really like that fit before free agency, and now it's just not going to work out. So things should get dicey tonight. We'll mix things up, and, it should be a good time, man. The mocks have been doing really well. We appreciate you guys checking them out. As always, drop a like, drop a sub, drop a comment. We love the banter. And yeah, man, should be a good time. Before we dive into it though, Reagan, Kyler Murray just signed with the Minnesota Vikings on a 1-year vet minimum deal. What a home run signing for Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell. Is J.J. McCarthy done in Minnesota? His day's numbered?
Well, let me ask you this. Where were you when Kyler Murray signed with the Vikings? I was at the gym, and my brother Garrett, I got to break the news to him while he was walking on the treadmill, so that was awesome. But where were you when Kyler Murray signed with the Vikings?
Yeah, actually, Reagan's Meta Glass video broke the news to me that Kyler Murray signed with Minnesota. So that's not really going to shake up this mock draft very much because the Vikings were never going to go with a quarterback anyways. But, just an interesting piece that.
No, hey, but I think it leaves, the Jets at 16 still as an option for Ty Simpson. It definitely leaves the Browns open as a dark horse to potentially take a quarterback. So I definitely think, the Vikings would never have drafted a quarterback where they were, but it definitely leaves some other teams on the table to potentially take Ty Simpson.
Yeah, and then, of course, Malik Willis signing in Miami takes them out of the Ty Simpson sweepstakes. Not that they were necessarily interested at pick 11 anyways. But, man, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we sneak Ty Simpson in the first round tonight. How about that?
Well, it is funny, too, just looking back at some of the mock drafts that we've already done. It's like, wow, we're already wrong, and we're not even close to the draft yet. And it's like, well, now there's, we had Jeremiah Love basically as a shoo-in at 8 or 9 for the longest time. And now it's like, A, will he even get that far? And B, even if he does, they're not taking him.
I know. Well, man, let's get into it. I think I got pick number 1 tonight. Is that correct?
Oh, I thought I did.
Oh, no, that's right. You got pick 1. You could take pick 1. Go ahead. Are you going to shock us?
Yeah, I mean, shocking in the sense where if you haven't heard of Fernando Mendoza, but no, I mean, this is just a shoe-in pick. I guess all I'll say is not much on him to say at this point. Everyone already knows it, but I do like some of the offseason moves the Raiders have already made. Like bringing in Tyler Linderbaum, I think is awesome for the protection standpoint to get a veteran in there. Obviously, you're going to slide Jackson Powers-Johnson, the second rounder out of Oregon, keep him at guard. I know he was originally drafted as a center. So you're starting to really build up that offensive line. I know they did just sign a wide receiver, and I'm blanking out on it. And it was one I should remember that because it was one I kind of liked. Do you know who it was offhand?
No, I do not know who you're referring to.
I liked it. I'm going to pull it up real quick, and I should have had this prepared, so this is already off to a hot start. Obviously, they got Linderbaum, N'Kobe Dean, another good one, but Jalen Naylor. What shall I like?
Oh, out of Michigan State. Go green, baby.
Not that he's this elite wide receiver, but what I saw in Minnesota with him as a wide receiver 3, he was able to produce, enough to make me be like, hey, at least this is them trying to get an asset. I still think now. And also, too, the Crosby deal fell through, so that changes a lot as well. Because I think, if that Crosby deal goes through, they're drafting a wide receiver at 14. We're maybe going after a Wan'Dale Robinson, maybe an Alec Pierce, a little bit heavier, some of the big names in the wide receiver free agency pool. That trade falls through. You don't get any wide receivers, and now you're not in a spot to draft a wide receiver in the first round. You're going to have to wait till your second round pick.
Yeah, I mean, Linderbaum's a great sign for him, but yeah, I think it's huge for Ashton Genty as well, and Mendoza having a veteran center will be big for him. So that one you could put down in Sharpie. That's happening. All right, Jets here at number 2. I'm going to go with David Bailey, edge rusher out of Texas Tech here, over Aral Ree. The reason being is for a Jets team that just feels like they've been rebuilding forever, I just think they're to go with the guy with the proven production. That's almost a safer pick. David Bailey, 14.5 sacks last year, led all Power 4 edge rushers. Aral Ree doesn't have as much experience along the edge, although he's a premier athlete. And I just think the Jets want to get that guy that's going to fill that void and they can kind of rely upon to work opposite of Will McDonald. And I know they made several moves along that defense, particularly that defensive line in free agency. But, the average age of the guys they signed is 31 years old. So none of those guys are going to deter you from taking a building block at edge rusher. And, of course, we're trading Jermaine Johnson for Devondre Sweat to play on the interior. This pick is going to be an edge rusher for sure. It also just meets value and positional need for the Jets. So, it's going to be an edge rusher. I think David Bailey will be the call.
Yeah, that makes my decision pretty easy. I'm going to go with Aral Ree here.
Yep.
Listen, Arizona's biggest needs right now is offensive line, but I don't think there's any prospect that you can make the case for taking at 3. And I don't know if anyone's going to be willing to trade up to 3 because similar to the Browns, they need offensive line help, and the Titans and Giants, would they want to move up 2 picks to get Aral Ree? Maybe. And I think any other team wouldn't want to give up the capital. So I think the Cardinals are going to, unfortunately, be stuck pat. As nice as it would be, and I'm sure as much as Cardinals fans want, trade back, get some more assets with them, probably, and I think it's pretty safe to say, based off the fact that their starting quarterbacks are going to be Brissett and Gardner Minshew next year, they are going to be the worst team in the league. So just go out and get the best player available in Aral Ree and, start this rebuild and, focus for 2027 and tanking for Arch, whoever ends up being the top quarterback.
Yeah, no, that's a good pick. I would have gone Aral Ree as well. Tennessee Titans here at 4, man. Wow, were they busy in free agency? I know, me being a Giants fan, you being a Jets fan, Reagan, the combination of Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll brought over a lot of former New York players. And, it's funny. You'd think they won a shit ton of games with those players in their tenures in New York with the amount they signed. And, they made a lot of moves along the defensive front. I still do think that's in play. But, for me, we know Cam Ward just didn't have enough help last year. And I know they brought in Wan'Dale Robinson to a fat contract that I'm happy the Giants didn't pay. But he's going to be a slot guy, right? He's going to be your possession guy over the middle of the field for Cam Ward. But they still need help along the outside of the perimeter. So as tempted as I am to go Jeremiah Love in this scenario, I'm not going to do it because they do still have Tony Pollard. I'm going to go Carnell Tate. Give me Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State. And I just think at this point in time, you need to support Cam Ward. If the Titans go 6-11 next year because their defense is great, it's not going to look good, right? It's just not going to look good. You're not that confident in Cam Ward, your former number 1 overall pick. If they go 6-11 and the offense makes significant strides and it's the offense getting those 6 wins, you have a lot more hope because Cam Ward is that guy that's going to continue to develop and be the leader of your franchise, and you could still add some more pieces to the defense to shore up that roster. So I just think they need to get another guy out wide. And now it's hey, with Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears, Wan'Dale Robinson, Carnell Tate, Jameer Dike, Alec Ayumanor. All right, we got some dudes, man. That's a good young nucleus to build around, and they do have some high premium picks they've utilized along the offensive line, which they could still use some work, but I think they can address that later on in the draft. They're not going to take one here. So give me Carnell Tate, wide receiver, Ohio State. Those guys usually seem to pan out in the league.
Yeah, no, listen, I was going to probably take him for the Giants there. You obviously take him. So, and also I love that just because, Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot, even though he was the big prized wide receiver, totally different skill set.
Absolutely.
And I definitely think they still need to address the wide receiver position. So this makes it interesting for the Giants here. I don't think they go Jeremiah Love. I think the fact that Tracy...
A lot of smoke about it, though. He visited the Giants today.
I understand that, and you should. But I'm okay with the running back core of Tracy and Cam Scatterbo. You'd imagine Scatterbo will be fully recovered. The production he was able to do pairing in Tracy as a mix. I don't think you need to at pick 5 do that. I don't at all. So where do we go here? Where do we go? Do we go offensive line? We could, but the fact that they bring back Illuminor at right tackle.
Hell yeah, it was such a big re-sign, man, because now they don't have to go tackle at 5. If they didn't have him, it was like, shit, they're going to go tackle at 5. It's too big of a hole, and it's too important for Dart. So you could argue going Mauigoa to kick him inside at guard, but I don't know. That seems rich at 5, right?
I agree. That does seem rich at 5. I was thinking going cornerback, but the fact that they brought in Greg Newsome, I know they lost Flott in the slot, and you're not taking a slot corner there. Then they get Tremaine Edmonds. I understand they need 2 linebackers, but to give him that big contract, so it puts me at a spot where I don't know where the Giants go.
They go BPA,
and maybe they just go wide receiver. Maybe they do go wide receiver, and maybe they're like, hey, we want to get Jackson Dart a weapon. But no, I'm not going too
there's
crazy.
no way to go Makai Lemon at 5.
No, I know. I just wanted to see what your reaction would be.
No,
I think they go.
Maybe
I honestly think they go Sonny Styles here. I think they just solidify their linebacker core. Listen, yeah, they paid Tremaine Edmonds, but they can have both guys in the inside. Sonny Styles balled out in the combine, obviously testing off the chart. Like you said, they go best player available in Sonny Styles. And yeah, I mean, listen, I thought they didn't bring back McFadden, right?
They did on a 1-year deal, but Micah McFadden, a 1-year deal off a foot injury in which he missed the whole season, essentially got hurt in week 1, does not stop you from drafting Sonny Styles.
Yeah, and I was trying to think of a mock trade, but I'm just like, who, with the fact that the Saints and the Chiefs signed running backs, I was trying to think of maybe having Washington trade up to take Jeremiah Love, but I just think they go best player available in Sonny Styles.
Yeah, I think in an ideal world, they do trade back because, to your point, they don't have to take a guy. They could go corner, but that's a little rich for Delane. They could go Mauigoa, play him at right guard. That's a little rich for me too. They could.
I was thinking Delane.
They could go later, but if they could move back a few spots, it's kind of the sweet spot for a lot of those prospects. But I think you just got to go BPA there, and that is Sonny Styles.
Yeah.
That's my number 1 target for them. But hey, Jeremiah Love, that would have shook things up pretty significantly at number 6. I mean, at number 5, you went there. All right, for the Browns here at number 6, we always go offensive line here. And you know what the wrench is in this? Is that they traded for Titus Howard to play right tackle. They have Tevin Jenkins to play guard. They signed Elgin Jenkins from the Packers, who was released, who has guard tackle flexibility.
Zion Johnson they signed as well.
Zion Johnson at guard, right? So we always went with a right tackle here, it felt like, or maybe a wide receiver, but Carnell Tate's off the board in this scenario. Now it gets interesting. The big hole on that offensive line is left tackle. The only guy here that's truly played left tackle is our guy out of Georgia, who honestly
Freeling
gets disrespected on this board at number 17. Monroe Freeling.
Yeah,
that's my pick here. That's my pick here. It's Monroe Freeling, tackle out of Georgia. He's rising the ranks significantly because he's 6'7", 315 pounds. He has all the tools you need to develop into one of those premier tackles. He only has 17 starts in college, which is certainly not ideal. He has some tape in the SEC that looks really good. And then there's other times when he just gets absolutely embarrassed. And a lot of what I've heard on him is if you could create a cut up of his bad plays and it looks like, wow, I wouldn't take that guy in the first round. But then you take a cut up of his great plays and you're like, holy shit. Yeah, an offensive line coach is going to be chomping at the bits to work with that. So as it currently stands, you can't take Mauigoa there and kick him out to left tackle. He was a right tackle at Miami. I just don't think that just seems like a difficult thing to do at pick 6. That's way too risky in my opinion. Fano's arm length is concerning. It's shorter than Will Campbell's. So for all the people that are busting Will Campbell's chops, you're not going Spencer Fano in the top 10 then because he's probably going to kick inside, although he does have the tape that he could potentially stay at right tackle, but he's not going to go to left. For the Browns, just how their offensive line is structured, they need left tackle. There's a big hole there. Monroe Freeling is the number 1 left tackle in the class. I think that's the direction they'll go.
Yeah, and listen, I like that one. He obviously is shooting up the draft boards. I will say, not that I'm, really trying to bring gambling into it too much, but one thing I like to follow is the odds on these sports books, and he is now plus 200 to be the first offensive lineman taken. If you did that probably a month ago,
Oh,
he would have
yeah,
been
dude.
insane value. So,
Yeah.
a guy like, I mean, Mauigoa is at plus 130, but Spencer Fano plus 260 was probably the favorite a couple months ago. So I would say if you really feel that he could be the first lineman taken, it's a nice sprinkle for you.
Yeah,
Just
I
to
would
throw
take
that
his
wrinkle
under.
in for you.
I don't think there's over-unders posted yet, but I'd take his under now.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen anything about that yet, but I just find it very, very telling for the most part with just all the insider trading or insider info that a lot of these books probably have.
Yep.
But yeah, let's move on to the Commanders here, man. I mean, there's a couple different routes you can go here. In free agency, obviously you bring back Mariota. Not that they would ever be in the quarterback market, but just saying, they bring him back. The big signing is Ioane, giving him a major contract. You bring in White at the running back position. Combined with Eckler coming back, still under contract. Do they cut him? Potentially.
Probably.
And obviously, you got Bill Merritt. So you got some guys there. So I don't think they go Jeremiah Love here. You bring in Chikakonkwo to play the tight end. So you made some nice moves in the offseason, but nothing that really is putting any position off the table for me outside of maybe edge, just because you commit such a big contract to Ioane.
They also signed Kayvon Tyson, do they not? From New England?
They may have.
I still think Edge is in play. I still think Jeremiah Love's in play for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I find it hard to believe that they would go Love here. Listen, I think.
Well, this is my problem with it. The way the board's falling right now is I think that the Saints and Chiefs signing ETN and Walker respectively means they didn't think Love would get there. And now here we are in this mock, and we have Love falling.
Yeah.
And I don't think he is. I almost took him at 4.
I mean, and listen, their offensive line's obviously much improved as well. Like, half of me wants to go wide receiver here because I still think, Deebo Samuel is not a long-term answer. Or he's a free agent. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go wide receiver here. I honestly think I am. I think I'm going to go with Jordan Tyson here for the Commanders.
Wow.
Yeah, as crazy as it is.
What a curveball.
I know. I think I'm going to go with Jordan Tyson here. I mean, the talent speaks for itself. I know there's the injury concerns, but if you take away, the injury concerns, he's the best wide receiver in the class. I think he's better than Carnell Tate. It's just the fact that people are so worried with the injuries, but ultimately, if this guy can stay healthy, he's going to be a freak talent and can develop into the one. I think he has the potential to be way better than Terry. Obviously, you're paying Terry, but I think the key thing for them is getting more weapons on the offensive side right now, and obviously keeping Jaden Daniels healthy. You pay Tunsil the big contract. You obviously draft Josh Connerly Jr. last year, so you do have your tackle duo solidified. So, yeah, it's a curveball here, but I think it's a route that's on the table for sure. So maybe it's a reach, but I'm going with Jordan Tyson here at 7.
Wow. And dude, you know what, man? Like, it seems crazy right now, right? Because none of the big time pundits are mocking Jordan Tyson in the top 10. There's a lot of smoke coming out of the combine that Makai Lemon did not interview well at all. And what I heard was that Jordan Tyson nailed his interviews, as did Carnell Tate. Who's to say that the Commanders don't have Jordan Tyson as their wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 on their boards? And maybe if Tate's gone in this instance and they want to go receiver, that Tyson's not their guy, right? Because if they don't want to go the running back in the top 10 route, they want to go the premium position, the ones that, I mean, shit, we just saw Wan'Dale Robinson get, $78 million, right? And he's a wide receiver too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an argument to be made that drafting a wide receiver in the top 10 is actually smart because you're getting a good one on a much cheaper deal for 5 years compared to what even a wide receiver 2 gets on the open market. So that's crazy, but I don't think it's that crazy.
Yeah, and listen, I know obviously him and Jin Daniels did not cross paths at Arizona State, but there's something to be said about that aspect and having ties to the same program.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
They didn't cross paths.
Go to the games together on the bye weeks.
Before somebody's in our comments being like, you guys don't know ball. They weren't there at the same time. I know they didn't cross paths, but still, there's something to be said about that.
All right, dude. The Saints here for me, man. Look, 2 receivers already off the board. That's crazy because I think the Saints could absolutely go receiver to give some support to Chris Olave and Tyler Shuck. But with the way this board's fallen, I got to go with Ruben Bain, dude. along that defensive line. Cam Jordan just doesn't have much left in the tank. Yeah, I'm not super high on Chase Young at this point in time, although he was pretty solid for them last year, actually. But the Saints just need an infusion of talent along that defensive front. Ruben Bain is only here at number 8 because he had the second shortest arms in the combine history, or at least since the late 90s. But the dude's an absolute gamer, and a lot of the draft guys and scouts and stuff were like, yeah, he's got short arms. I get it, but can't deny what I'm seeing on the field. Can't deny what he did down the stretch for Miami in the college football playoffs. Just a total game wrecker, both in the pass rushing and run stuffing department. And he's just going to bring that mentality that you really love to have up front. So Ruben Bain at number 8 for me just is a really good fit naturally with the Saints, given that they've already filled that hole at running back.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's an easy one there for them. Obviously them going ETN takes Jeremiah Love off the table, and just looking at this board, he might slide a little bit. But that's okay. Definitely takes him off the table there, and that's all right. For the Saints, I agree with you. You just got to go get some more edge help. And Ruben Bain, I mean, for everyone talking about, how will he translate to the pressure? I mean, the dude's a great run stopper as well. So he's a very well-rounded. I wouldn't say, he's not an elite edge rusher, and I don't think he'll be an elite edge rusher, but I do think he's going to be well-rounded and be heavily utilized in both aspects with the pass rush and as a run stopper.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on. Kansas City Chiefs here.
Woo! I think I know where you're going here, man. I think I know where you're going.
Oh, yeah? Who am I going?
I think you're going to go Mansoor Delane, corner out of LSU, because
Maybe.
Both of their corners just went to the Rams. The Rams traded for McDuffie and then go, we're not done. We're going to take Watson from you as well.
Listen, I think I can go there. I think that is a route. But I don't I'm just going to go the best player available. I'm going to go Caleb Downs. They also lost Brian Cook. Let's not forget that as well. He left in free agency, the safety. So I think they're going to go Caleb Downs. I think they're going to go get the best player available. Yes, could they use a corner there? 100%. But they do have a later pick. There's going to be plenty of corners, I think, there with the 29th pick that they could address there. And I think they're going to go best player available and Caleb Downs on a win-now team.
Wow. Caleb Downs. You can't go wrong with that, man. You can't go wrong. Add Caleb Downs in the back end. And hey, they do have pick 29 as well to add another player in that secondary or maybe attack. Like, they could go tackle, they could go receiver, they can go corner, they can go safety. There's a lot of directions that the Chiefs they can go edge rusher too.
And I know
they got a good amount of holes.
They brought in Gilman to play the free safety from Baltimore, but that, I would imagine Downs would be playing the strong safety. Even then, a guy like that, you're going to use him in so many different ways. So to get him as a chess piece in the back end where you can use him as a blitzer as well in the Spagnuolo defense, I find it hard to believe they wouldn't want to get a guy like that.
All right, dude. Bengals here at 10. Holy shit. Man, there's so many ways I could go. I'm going to do it, dude. I'm going to do it. Give me Jeremiah Love to the Cincinnati Bengals at pick 10. Bengals fans, don't kill me in the comments. There is no way Jeremiah Love's going to be here at 10. If he is, I know you have a hole at corner. I know you could use a pass rusher or two. I know tackle could be in play. Who is stopping an offense of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Jeremiah Love? Your defense sucks. Well, you know what? Why take a swing on a corner, which we've seen first-round corners have like a 50-50 hit rate, or take the fourth pass rusher off the board here at number 10 when that feels rich to me? Why? Just take the best player on the board, if not the best, the second best player in the entire draft. The guy's a superstar from day one. He ran a 4.36 at the combine. 15 pounds. That's Jahmyr Gibbs speed. He's 15 pounds bigger than Jahmyr Gibbs. He's ridiculous. And the only reason he's here is because I didn't take Jeremiah Love at 4 for the Titans.
Well,
and Reagan didn't take him at 7 with the Commanders. I feel like he's going to go one of those two spots. But in this scenario, neither team wanted to take the running back. The Bengals here at 10, it's like, shit, we didn't think we'd be in this scenario. Yeah, we could take Delane. We could take Mauigoa. Sure. Why not? Why do that when this guy's going to have such a higher grade and you just drop them right in, and this becomes the most explosive offense in football. They might average 35 points a game.
Yeah, and listen, Chase Brown, to your point, is on the last year of his rookie deal.
And hey,
so he's
to your
good.
Point, no, I love that you brought that up, Reagan. It's a great point. And we saw Tyler Algier run for 1,000 yards, and the Falcons drafted Bijan Robinson. Like, I don't care, because Jeremiah Love could go line up in the slot, and you have Chase and Higgins out wide, and you have Chase Brown in the game too. The guy's a lethal receiving threat as well. He's running wide receiver drills at the combine. His pass pro was significantly better in 2025. That's a different aspect to his game as well. He's an all-around prospect that a lot of guys have a tick below Saquon and Bijan coming out. So if you know you're going to have a guy of that caliber, why not, dude? Why not? Just load up on defense the rest of the draft, because now it's like, shit, we know our defense is probably not going to be great anyways. Who can score with us? Genuinely, who can score with us now?
Yeah. No, listen, I like that he fell there.
Bengals fans, I hope you like it too, man, because the Bengals
even
fans
then,
they've been going at us, man. Like, we ain't traded up, we don't do it. So you're standing pat here. But I know this isn't defense, but goddamn, it's just too good of a value to pass.
Yeah, and I can't imagine. Like, they're not going to pay Chase Brown next year. Like, he's going to price himself out. I think somebody's going to pay him way more than the Bengals are willing to. So
yeah, and they won't pay it back anyways. They don't. You know what I mean? Like, just get his replacement now. Play them both this year.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, but yeah, the Dolphins at 11. Obviously, they bring in Malik Willis. That's the big signing they've done. Outside of that, it's been a lot of like minor moves. I mean, they bring Willie Gay in, or they bring back Willie Gay. You know, they
traded Mika Fitzpatrick. That's secondary.
Yeah, they traded him away,
which already needed help.
Yeah, so that opens up more there. Yes, that's a big move. I just think they go best player available. To me, the fact that they paid Malik Willis means they want to get him some weapons. Really, outside of Waddle, like, yes, they brought in Tutu Atwell to kind of fill that Tyreek Hill role, to be the burner down the field. But outside of that, you don't have a whole lot of weapons. If you're bringing in Malik Willis, you need to set him up for success. Could we go offensive line here? 100%. I actually have them taking Kenyon Sadiq here. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, he's shooting up draft boards, but listen, why not go out and get the top tight end in the class, get yourself a great weapon to pair with Jalen Waddle to set Malik Willis up for success? Because you will never get a great gauge of what he is in Malik Willis if he doesn't have anyone to throw the ball to. And we also know Jalen Waddle's history. Dude deals with injuries all the time. So if he's missing time, then who the hell is Malik Willis throwing the ball to, honestly?
Yeah,
so you're not going to get a good gauge on him. And even if you know after a year with Malik Willis he's not the guy, that's fine. The contract's not scary. It's easy to get out of. You could totally be in play for drafting someone in 2027. And if that is the case and you're drafting in the top 5 next year and you know right away Malik Willis isn't the guy, great. Then you draft a rookie quarterback and you set him up with a guy like Kenyon Sadiq and Jalen Waddle. So, yeah, different route there. But the way he's shooting up boards and the way he tested in the combine, dude's going to be a freak.
Dude, this draft board is getting crazy, man. This is what free agency does. And you know why I don't hate it is, like, the Dolphins trading away Mika Fitzpatrick. You know, Bradley Chubb gets released. Are they tanking for Arch a little bit? Like, I think the Dolphins are totally looking forward to the 2027 quarterback class. And Malik Willis, it makes sense bringing him in given the ties that he has with head coach Jeff Hafley from Green Bay. But you get a weapon like Sadiq. That's awesome, because then a quarterback stepping in next year potentially doesn't work out. But
it benefits both guys, yes.
Yes, it benefits Willis this year
thoughts.
to see what you got, but the quarterback next year, you got a young building block with Jalen Waddle. So I don't hate that pick at all. All right, Cowboys here at 12. The board just fell absolutely beautifully for them. This is an easy pick for me. It's Mansoor Delane, the corner out of LSU. We know they released Trayvon Diggs the end of last year. We know Deron Bland has struggled to stay healthy. Cowboys need help on that defense. They were really hunting in the linebacker market, so maybe that's a position I look at pick 20 for them. I know they missed out on Nakobe Dean, and I believe Quay Walker as well. They both went to the Raiders. So former Bulldogs both go to the Raiders.
Quay Walker went to the Raiders? I missed that.
Yes. So go to the Raiders. Wow. Yeah, Cowboys are missing out, but they still need help. They added Rashawn Gary, and then they traded away Ziggy Woowa. Yeah. On the interior, he was making $20 million plus. They got Rashawn Gary in there, so they still could go edge, but I think it's not an edge here. I think Delane's the best player on the board here for the Cowboys. They just need a guy at corner, and hey, the value here just makes a ton of sense. Delane could go as high as 5 to the Giants as things currently stand, in my view.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for Dallas, you need cornerback help. Their secondary was awful last year. So for the best corner, that most people are saying and looking at, and obviously the production speaks for itself at LSU to fall to them there at 12, I think it's a home run pick. So let's move on to the Rams. I think they need help on the offensive line. I would love to take Caleb Lomu here, but I think with him being a little bit more of a project, while he is a physical talent, it seems like from everything I'm hearing, he needs to put on some more muscle. So I don't think they want to wait in their Super Bowl window for more of a project like him to develop. So I'm going to go with the more pro-ready type in Francis Mauigoa that you can play at tackle, you can play at guard, kind of fits it more where they have some holes on the offensive line. Is it bad, their offensive line? No. Is it great? No, it's okay. But I don't think there's anyone on that offensive line that isn't replaceable. So I think drafting a guy like this with the guard tackle flexibility is a good move, for a team in a win now mode and, a team that obviously has Super Bowl aspirations.
Yeah, it did. Usually Francis is not sliding to 13 in our mocks, but yeah, that's just a phenomenal pick for the Rams because how else are you going to maximize Matthew Stafford than getting him more protection up front and a guy that could do both tackle and guard and is, in my opinion, the number one tackle in the class. It just, for the Browns, it doesn't make that much sense, which is why we have Freeling going up there who plays left.
Mm-hmm.
All right, for the Ravens here, should have been the Raiders. That was crazy, man. That trade falling through. I still can't get over it. But you got to think for the Ravens, they keep their 2 first-round picks and they sign Trey Hendrickson for the same amount of money. That's a win.
Better move. And Hendrickson's got more production.
Yeah, that's a win. But now they just look like dirty slime balls in league circles, and they broke kind of that code between owners and front offices and teams. So not cool, but they lost Tyler Linderbaum, a anchor in the interior of that offensive line. And outside of Linderbaum, the guard positions were not great for Baltimore last year. This is Vega, Ioane for me all freaking day. He's a blue chip caliber of guard prospect. If you listen to the Todd McShay show, You Good Mensch, Steve Mensch is a former offensive lineman, huge in the scouting offensive lineman. He has Vega as his number 1 guard prospect since Quentin Nelson. So
wow.
that's a pretty high praise for this guy. And everything that I'm seeing in league circles is like, yeah, he's one of those that you're just debating what's too high for a guard because you could sleep well that night when you make this pick. This kid is going to make you look smart, and he's going to be a really damn good football player with potential all-pro upside on the interior. The Ravens really need help along that offensive line because Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson want to run the freaking hell out of the ball. They're not going to be able to do that if the offensive line can't block for him. So Vega here makes too much sense for Baltimore. I actually am starting to think he might work his way up towards the top 10.
Wow.
Yeah,
really?
I can see it happening, man. I could see it happening. I could really see it happening.
Actually, I don't know why I'm saying that as if I didn't have him going 8 last time.
Yeah. Yeah, you had him go 8 to the Saints last time.
I mean, hey, welcome aboard then. Listen, they obviously signed John Simpson, who was a former Raven. Okay, on the Jets, serviceable, but even then, you kind of solidify your guards, with bringing Simpson back and then getting Ioane. So I like it. I like it a lot. All right, so Tampa Bay Bucks. To me, edge is a no-brainer here.
Yeah.
No-brainer here. It's just who do I want to go with? It's tough because you look at the board, Keldrick Falk, younger prospect, more of a project.
Akheem Mesidor is older, ready to play now, but he's 25.
Kind of where I was going to go was Mesidor, based off the fact that if you look at the way the Bucks are currently constructed, they're kind of in this limbo where they do have a lot of win now pieces. Todd Bowles has been there for a while, but at the end of the day, I don't think Todd Bowles is looking at this draft for the future. I would say his seat is very hot. If they have even if they win a division or a first round exit, I think he's fired next year. I think they have to win at least one playoff game for him to keep his job. So I think he's looking more win now. I don't think the current regime has the flexibility to take more of a project in Falk. So I think they go with the win now piece in Mesidor, the more proven entity, the guy that was balling out all of the college football playoffs.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting perspective, because, I'm writing my own mock draft that I'm working on. And I do have Falk slated there right now, but that's an interesting perspective where it's like Todd Bowles is a little bit on the hot seat because they just keep teetering around 500 and not making deep runs. And I don't know. I'm not a big Todd Bowles guy, but that's interesting. Mesidor more ready to win now, where Falk is still very raw in the pass rushing department, although he's a beast in the run game and has inside-outside flexibility. But yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah. And listen, I agree with you. It helps having the run stopping, but if we know Todd Bowles' defenses, they're going to be able to stop the run, no problem. They got a beast in Vita Vea inside, and last year they lacked
Kancey too.
Yeah, they lacked major pressure on the edge, so I think they need to just go out and get one of the top edge rushers in the draft and not worry about stopping the run when you got those beefcakes on the inside.
Those beefcakes, man. All right, Jets here at 16. Man, Jets fans would be really excited if the board falls like this. I'm going to go Makai Lemon, wide receiver out of USC. I mean, this just feels like his floor to me. I don't see him getting past the Jets here at 16. Look, I know they're rolling with Geno Smith this year. It looks like this is not a pick for Geno Smith. This is a pick for whoever the quarterback is in 2027, because now he's going to step into a situation where you got two young bookend tackles in Fashanu and Membu. You got two young receivers. We already know Garrett Wilson's a star, and now you got Makai Lemon, who is probably better than the 16th overall player of this draft. Like, absolutely. And, maybe he slides a little bit because of the interviews, but you can't deny he won the Blinkentoff for a reason. He was an absolute menace at USC. And for the Jets, I mean, with Breece Hall, hey, I know they got to work on the interior offensive line a little bit, which is why Vega would have been freaking awesome here. And I just don't think he gets to 16. You can deal with that on day 2, but let's get a top tier wide receiver prospect in Makai Lemon in here. The offense has just been such a problem for the Jets for so long that, hey, you got edge rusher at number 2 in David Bailey. Makai Lemon, that's a good haul for the Jets in round 1.
I love it. I do love it. As a Jet fan, I think that's great. You need to get Geno Smith some weapons. Obviously, he's not going to be the long-term answer, but even then, at least you can kind of get a good idea of the roster this year, give him the potential. He'll help develop. And then for next year, whoever you draft a quarterback, like, you're setting them up for success. So I like it in that aspect. So let's move on to the Lions. And obviously, they let Taylor Decker go. They released him. So they need a left tackle. And I was talking about how he's a little bit of a project, but he was the left tackle at Utah. I'm going to go with Caleb Lomu here. Listen, if there's anyone that teaches toughness, grit, weight room, all that stuff, it's Dan Campbell. So for all the people out there saying they want to see him get stronger, put on some more weight, this is a great spot for him to land. So I think he can develop there on that offensive line, and he fills a big need for him right now. So Caleb Lomu going at 17 to the Lions.
Yeah, dude, I can't believe they let go of Taylor Decker, decade of their left tackle. Just makes too much sense, man. They need left tackle really bad, and Lomu was playing that at Utah while his running mate Fano was playing right, and Fano's arm length's a concern. So it's funny, like, Fano was getting more praise, and he was definitely going earlier than Lomu, but now it's like, shit, Lomu has a better chance of sticking outside at guard, so he might go before Fano.
Yeah.
All right, Minnesota Vikings here at 18, just bringing in Kyler Murray. Tight ends, if Sadiq's on the board, would make a ton of sense, but in this scenario, Sadiq's going 11. I think they're pretty good along the offensive line. Darisal's a dog. Brian O'Neill's a dog. They still got Will Fries in the interior, so I don't want to go offensive line. I think there's got to be defense, man, and we know they're pretty good up front. I heard there were talks about Jonathan Grenard potentially getting traded, but that's because Dallas Turner, who they took in the first round 2 years back, is right behind him, and you still have Van Ginkel. So for me, this is going to be a secondary pick, and I'm going to go Dillon Thieneman, the safety out of Oregon. This guy had a hell of a combine, dude, running in the 4.3s. His drills were ridiculous, the way he was flipping his hips, the change of direction, the quickness. Yeah, he's going to be a first-round pick, and with the way the Vikings look right now, could Harrison Smith come back? Sure, he's an unrestricted free agent right now, and I think he's 36 years old. So, they got Byron Murphy at corner, Isaiah Rodgers. Like, that's okay. But let's get Thieneman to play on that back end and kind of be a Swiss Army knife and infuse some youth and athleticism into the back end of that Vikings defense. And I'm sure Brian Flores would love this pick because they blitz like a motherfucker. And you need a guy like Thieneman with his speed on the back end to make some plays when you have, you can't just sit in zone all the time, right? So having one high in Thieneman, I think would work out really well for Brian Flores.
Yeah, no, listen, that is a great pick for them. I'm curious. I've been seeing him shoot up a lot of draft boards. Obviously, he's another one that kind of tested off at the combine. So I am curious where he'll ultimately end up. But yeah, I like that one for him. The Panthers are a very interesting one because I'm kind of thinking like, where could they go here? I don't think they go offensive tackle because I know they obviously drafted Aquanu, and I think Taylor Morton's a pretty solid option for them at the other one. I am curious, like, because I wanted to take Spencer Fano here, but there's no I haven't really heard a ton of like, I know everything with the quote unquote arm length is an issue, but I haven't heard of a lot of people trying to shift him the guard as far as I know. I mean, do a lot of people think he'll be able to shift in the guard?
Well, people think center. He was doing center drills at the combine. So he might play center in the league.
Yeah. I mean, listen, to me, I don't know, man. Like, I kind of want to take it just to give a different perspective here and just be like, hey, maybe they're going to shift him on the interior. Because I would say
he's got 5 position flexibility
then,
somewhat, like not ideal
yeah.
at left tackle, but he does have the flexibility to play anywhere in the interior.
And listen, I mean, they obviously just paid Jalen Phillips the bag. You draft Nick Scorton in the second round last year. I mean, you got J.C. Horn on the back end. Like, could you go take another cornerback maybe to pair with him? I mean, I didn't mind Mike Jackson at all, but maybe it's just like, hey, let's build up the secondary a little bit. I mean, there's no wide receiver I love here. I know they threw that 7th round tender or whatever on Coker. But you know what? Maybe I will go corner here. Just build up the back end a little bit here. I'm going to go with Jermon McCoy here at a Tennessee, really just to continue to build up that secondary. I mean, if you really want to compete in the NFC, I mean, look at some of these teams and some of the elite wide receivers you have. So building up your secondary would be huge there. I mean, you saw, going back to that Rams playoff game, it was a shootout the whole entire game. And obviously it's going to be hard to stop Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. But if they want to make some serious damage, you need to get some guys in that secondary to pair with J.C. Horn, even with Mike Jackson and what he is, and he played really well. Like, in fairness, he played very well in that playoff game. But I think you just kind of go with one of the better players available. I got to check out Mike Jackson's contract at this point, but I believe he is on. Yeah, he's on the last year of his deal. So I don't think that's stopping you from doing that.
No, it's not.
Knowing that fact, because he'll be a free agent after this year. So this may be more of a 2027 pick, but I still think it's a good one for him.
Hey, McCoy, man, I know teams aren't necessarily happy with his agent from what McShay was saying, because he has not touched the field since the ACL injury in January of 2025. And we thought he was going to work out the combine, and he didn't. And I don't know why. Unless he's not like fully healthy, then I get it. But if he's fully healthy and he's like holding out, like, I don't get it, because he could get his draft stock significantly higher if he goes out there and runs in the 4.4s and looks healthy, right? Then he can go much higher than 19 overall. But this is the Panthers taking a shot, and it's like, damn, McCoy and J.C. Horn could form a ridiculous duo if McCoy looks like he did in 2024 at Tennessee.
Yeah, so it's more of a shot there, but I wanted to go a different route for the Panthers, and I've been going in a lot of these mocks.
Yeah, I like it. All right, Cowboys here at 20, dude. Look, I know they need linebacker bad. They need someone to pair with DeMarion Overshown, right? My thing is, though, is the way this board has fallen, this is a ridiculous linebacker class. Like, you're going to find great value on day 2 and day 3 that I think the Cowboys will end up taking Keldrick Falk in this scenario, edge rusher out of Auburn. And now let's look at the Cowboys defensive line. That was pretty freaking bad last year. They really struggled to get after the quarterback after trading away Micah Parsons. But now you got Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams on the interior. You have Rashawn Gary at one edge. You drafted Donovan Ezeraku out of Boston College last year, but he's more of a speed rusher. Keldrick Falk's a different mold. He's 6'5", 275. He's more of a bigger, meaner edge rusher type. So, drafting Ezeraku last year in the second round does not deter you from taking another edge rusher here. And you can never have too many pass rushers. Let's be honest. You just absolutely can't. And as I mentioned earlier, this guy does have flexibility to kick into the inside as well. Kenny Clark is not getting any younger. Rashawn Gary is in his late 20s now. So, look, the Cowboys now, if they had Falk here, they got a pretty deep stable of pass rushers to deploy this season. And we already addressed corner with Delane at 12. So if you go Delane and Falk, I'm sure Cowboys fans would be pretty happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think Dallas needs to really address the defense. Like, I don't think they're a team, and I guess you could make the case for the Bengals earlier, but that was kind of more of a best player available.
Jeremiah Love, yeah.
You know what? Dallas's offense is so good that you just got to keep adding to that defense, because if they can get that defense right, like, that team is going to be scary next year. Steelers here. So obviously they go and get Pittman. That was the big trade they did, and then they give him the 3-year deal. So that's already off to a great start for them. You know, we still don't know who their quarterback is. I don't think it's going to be Ty Simpson. I don't think they're going to draft Ty Simpson. I don't want to hear Steelers fans crying about the fact that we had them taking Ty Simpson here. I am curious, like, what route they'll go here. I still think it's possible, even with them, you know, going out and getting Pittman. I still think wide receivers in play there for sure. Like, I don't think that this stops them. We see they let Calvin Austin walk. He just signed with the Giants. He was their speedster on the outside. So I think to fully complement your arsenal of wide receivers there, give Aaron Rodgers a win-now player, I'm going to go with KC Concepcion, because I like the kind of dynamic and the kind of wide receiver he is. He's a very different skill set than DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman will play in the slot and be like the short intermediate routes. DK obviously can kind of do it all. He can do the deep balls as well, but this is a different kind of speed. So I think pairing all three guys together gives Rodgers a great wide receiver core and says, hey, come back, let's give it one more shot. And then if it doesn't work out with Rodgers, maybe you draft a quarterback next year, or you take someone on day 2, or maybe it's Will Howard, as Mike McCarthy would say, Will Howard.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you're building up a nice wide receiver room, and you can never look at the Steelers, because it is, listen, it's not the same old Steelers. It's not the Mike Tomlin Steelers. This is the Mike McCarthy Steelers. So I don't think he's going to deter and be afraid to really build up that wide receiver room and set up whoever the quarterback is for success.
Yeah, this guy is just speed, man. So Steelers need more of that in their offense, as we all know. They did add a running back, Reagan, did they not? Who'd they sign at running back?
Yeah, obviously Gainwell left.
Left. Who'd they sign again? It's gonna drive me crazy.
No.
Rico,
yeah.
Yeah, they signed Rico. So, yeah, I mean, I think they need help in that offense.
Jaylen
I mean,
Warren.
I don't know. Be on the lookout for Anthony Richardson, the Steelers. Just playing musical chairs here. Right now, as it stands, if Aaron Rodgers is going to come back, it's Will Howard, right? And I don't know. Just I wouldn't be shocked if Anthony Richardson ends up on the chart on the Steelers for a day 3 pick to go and compete for that job a little bit and have a developmental prospect.
Yeah, and I was thinking too, just for a future Cam Hayward replacement, I was thinking maybe Peter Woods, because I know he is only on a 1-year deal. Cam Hayward at this point, he's on the last year.
Yeah. But they just went Derek Harmon last year in the first round, so it seems they double dip at D-tackle, right? Yeah. I thought about it too in my mock that I'm working on. That I thought about it, but I was like, you know,
and they've invested so much in the, you know, they've invested a lot recently in the offensive line. So, yeah, I could have gone there, but I figured why not go a luxury pick there?
That's fine by me, because for the Chargers here at 22, I'm going to go Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson. We always go offensive line for the Chargers, and they let go of Zion Johnson. They brought in Tyler Biadasz from Washington to be their center. They re-signed Trevor Penning to be their left guard, and they brought in Cole Strange, former first-round pick of the Patriots.
Yeah.
He was on the Dolphins, to be at right guard. Now, don't get me wrong. That does not stop them from going offensive line. Like, Spencer Fano is interesting here, and like I do think that is absolutely in play. But as it currently stands, the defensive line for LA just needs work, especially on the interior. They have Tyler Tart at D tackle. They have Jamari Caldwell. That's just not going to get the job done. And for a team that's so focused on the trenches, like, yeah, Fano makes a lot of sense. We just do it every time. So I'm going to try to give a different look today, because I think they get to attack the trenches on the other side of the ball as well. And Peter Woods, I think, will be the first defensive tackle taken. Caleb Banks was in that running, despite playing 3 games last year, because he worked out like an absolute freak at the combine. And now it's coming out that he broke his foot. The night before the combine, he broke the 4th metatarsal in his foot. So he did that workout with the broken foot, which on one hand's like, holy shit, how'd he work out like that at his size with a broken foot? But on the other hand, a second injury now to a guy that big to the foot, not good, man. I don't know if the Chargers want to swim in those waters and roll the dice. Although the upside's so high, it could be a total swing and miss. So I think Caleb Banks will ultimately fall to day 2 now and be probably a mid to early 2nd round pick. So I'm going to go Peter Woods. We all know, if you've been listening to the pod, he did not have a 2025 season like he wanted to. 2024 was much better. I hope he beefs up, but I think he can reach his potential under John Harbaugh. That just feels like a really good fit for what Peter Woods wants. And I think this is the team that can help him get to the top of his game and reach his full potential.
I love that. And listen, I feel like that's an immense value for them at 22 to get Peter Woods there. So will he fall there on the draft? That's to be determined. But in this scenario, you got to take him. So for the Eagles, I mean, it's pretty clear, and I'm sure most Eagles fans will say it, like edge is such a major need for them right now. Like you look at it, they're just losing guys left and right. Yes, could they go out and get Max Crosby? 100%. Now they're back in that sweepstakes. But at this current time, they don't have him. So I'm going to go and get an edge rusher for them. I'm going to go with Zion Young out of Missouri.
Ooh.
So he's an older prospect, which I think fits out well. I just got to find him wherever he is.
Wow, what a
he's
fucking
an older
reach,
prospect.
dude. What a reach. Eagles fans are going to grill you.
I know. I don't really think it is a reach, dude. Listen, I mean, they're a win now team. And yes, he's an older prospect, but he had some good production at Missouri. I mean, dude's a physical freak, tested out at the combine really well. So he's a guy who's going to see his stock go up and up. I mean, dude, he's 6'6", 262. He's a beast. And for the Eagles, like they don't have time to deal with these projects. They just need to get guys right now that can fit their Super Bowl window, and they need an edge rusher to do that. So, yeah, could they go and trade for Max Crosby 100%? And this doesn't matter at all. But I think Zion Young is going to go in the first round for sure. So don't be shocked when it happens.
Okay. All right. I hear you. All right, man. The Cleveland Browns here. Interesting. So they've added Quincy Williams at linebacker on the defense. That's really all they've done on the defensive side of the ball. And their defense is pretty solid, as we know. I mean, they got some dudes. Offensively, we've already discussed the offensive line additions earlier. We already addressed left tackle. Wide receiver just feels like the biggest need on this team, how it currently stands. How about some Omar Cooper Jr. out of Indiana to pair with Jerry Jeudy? I do think, they've seen some flashes from Cedric Tillman at times, but he can't stay healthy. Isaiah Bond, I don't know. He's more known for saying he's break the 40 record and running a 4.41, but he did make some plays with Shador down the back half of last season. But let's be honest, whoever is at quarterback for the Browns next year, whether it's Shador or Deshaun Watson, they need more weapons. They weren't a bad team, and they weren't picking 4th overall because their defense was bad. They couldn't score points, man. It was a disgusting offense. So Omar Cooper flying up draft boards, had a phenomenal workout. It's got great speed. His yak ability is just different from anyone else they currently have on the roster. He's got the pedigree. They won a title. He's a winning player. Hey, Omar Cooper Jr. just seems to make a lot of sense for me at the Browns here at 24.
Yeah, I love that because whoever their quarterback is for the future, you're getting, a wide receiver that can help, the quarterback currently and the future quarterback. And listen, I don't think any wide receiver on that roster is a long-term answer. Like Jerry Jeudy was good 2 years ago, but last year he kind of did a whole disappearing act. So they need to really figure out that wide receiver core. So for him to still be there, that's a great pickup for him. So let's move on to the Bears. And they're in a similar light, as I said, with the Eagles, a team that's kind of in win now mode now. They need help on the edge. Obviously, they have Montez Sweat, but I think they need to get somebody else. Could they trade for Max Crosby? 100%. Will they trade for him? I don't know, and we don't know this at the time of the recording. So I'm going to take T.J. Parker out of Clemson for them. I just think it's another guy that fills a big need for them, and you can pair him with Montez Sweat. I mean, listen, if you want to have a chance to compete, you need to get after the quarterback. You can't let these offenses pick you apart. Like we saw with the Rams were able to do to them in the playoff game and ultimately beat them. Like, and the Bears were in it the whole entire time, but that's a lot of points you gave up on the defensive side. So you just got to continue to get pressure after the quarterback. And we know that division is going to be tight. To me, that division's a 4-team race. Like with the Vikings now getting Kyler Murray, if Kevin O'Connell can get the best out of them, like you got to think they're back in the conversation. You know the Lions are going to be back in the conversation, and you know the Packers are. So it always helps to just have more edge pressure, especially when there's some good quarterback play within the division.
Yeah, man. Can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that. You know, he crushed the senior bowl. So Bears have really been looking at the edge rusher market for what feels like 2 off seasons now, just waiting to get that guy. So, you know, I could totally see him going that year at 25. All right, Bills here at 26, man. What an interesting team. I saw someone today was like shitting the Bills. They're like, it just seems like they sign all the old guys when they get released from other teams. And it's just, you know, it's kind of funny. So they've added, of course, they traded for DJ Moore. They got DJ Moore at receiver now with Josh Palmer, Khalil Shakir. Wide receiver for me is still in play. However, the problem here is Omar Cooper and KC Concepcion just went right in front of them, right? And there's no receiver that I'm thinking about taking at this point in time, given how the board has fallen. Defensively, they just signed CJ Gardner-Johnson today at safety, which is interesting. They signed Bradley Chubb at outside linebacker. Pass rushers certainly a need. They could go secondary, but like, dude, I don't love the options on the board. This is a tough spot for the Bills, man. Matt Milano's gone now. Matt Milano's gone. So could they go linebacker? Could they go linebacker?
Well,
yeah. How about CJ Allen from Georgia?
Why not?
To play linebacker. Green dot kind of guy. Really high character. Can be the new leader in the center of that defense for the Bills. I would have loved to go pass rusher here, but the options just aren't there. Receiver, the options just aren't there. Like, ideally, this would be a prime trade-out spot for a team trying to move up to get Ty Simpson maybe for Buffalo. Could they go safety still with adding CJ Gardner-Johnson? They got Cole Bishop. Like, maybe. I was tempted to take Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Maybe D'Angelo Pons, corner out of Indiana's flying up boards. But I'm going to go with CJ Allen. I just think it's a much safer pick. And, you know, they kind of need a thumper in the middle of that defense now.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, I feel like a lot of people are going to say wide receiver for them there, but there's nobody, you know, I see in my eyes on the board that's like warranted to take there. So I think you go and fill another major need. Like the Bills have major issues outside of the wide receiver position. You know, we saw what Bo Nix and the Broncos did to that defense in the playoffs. So you need to fill, there's definitely holes on both sides of the ball. So I'm cool with that. All right, for the Niners, I'm going to go with, you know, a guy that was supposed to be a top 10 pick now is going down because of his arm length, and Spencer Fano. If there's anyone in any offensive mind that could probably get the best out of him and figure out where to fully utilize him, it's him. And hey, maybe they do eventually want to use him at the tackle spot. Trent Williams isn't going to be there forever. So what better offensive lineman to teach him and try to, you know, figure out a way to use him best? I just think the fit makes too much sense. And now with them obviously getting Mike Evans in free agency, takes wide receiver out of play there for me. So I'm just going to go with an offensive lineman there. The Niners, obviously, you could make a case for the defensive side of the ball there, of course, with all the injuries they dealt with last year. But I just think a guy like Fanu, who's so talented at that point, to give Kyle Shanahan a guy like him just makes too much sense.
Yeah, that's. I was looking at the board. I was like, yeah, you just got to go offensive line here. It's too big of a slide for Fano, and it just makes too much sense for the Niners. If you weren't going to take him there, I was going to take him for Houston. So
yeah, I figured
that makes sense. Well, for Houston, I'll go with the other offensive lineman that has slid drastically, and I don't think will fall this far when push comes to shove, and that's Caden Proctor out of Alabama. Tackle or guard, we'll figure it out, right? Just get him in the room, Houston. Figure it out. They brought in Braden Smith out of Indianapolis, who's a right tackle for now. I believe that was only a 1-year deal, though. So whatever. That's a stopgap. They had, after trading Titus Howard to Cleveland, Ed Ingram at one guard spot, Jarrett Patterson out of Notre Dame at the other guard spot. Look, dude, they just need guys. They need competition. Proctor has the highest ceiling of any offensive lineman that'll be in this room. Although I like Arante Ursary, the tackle they took last year out of Minnesota, who's their left tackle slated right now, Proctor has a higher ceiling than him too. This pick just makes way too much sense for what Houston needs. He could be a guard. He could be a tackle. They need it all. Let's protect CJ Stroud And new running back David Montgomery, I'm sure, is going to appreciate this pick as well.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, you could have said any offensive lineman there and I can get it behind it. Houston needs offensive line help bad, but listen, Proctor's a physical freak. So I think it feels just such a major need for them. But let's move on to Kansas City. I took Caleb Downs earlier for them. I think we're still going secondary. Obviously, they, trade away one of their corners. Another one leaves in free agency. So that leaves two major holes for them. So I'm going corner here. They're doubling up in the secondary there. I'm going with Avion Terrell out of Clemson here.
Yeah.
Hopefully solidifying one of their corner positions. They brought somebody in. Who'd they bring in? I know they brought in Cater Kohu to play the nickelback, and then they obviously got Gilman to be the free safety. But right now, your corners are big needs. I know they still have Fulton there as well as one of the corners, and then they got Noel Williams, a third rounder from last year. But I just think they have to go corner here, so I'm going with the best corner on the board at this point.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. I was curious if you're going to go Terrell or Hood. I knew you were going to go with a corner. So that one makes sense.
I mean,
man.
I like Terrell a little bit more. I guess I could have gone Hood as well. I guess that really speaks to the quality of Tennessee's secondary. I mean, to have two guys that are potentially, two of your corners potentially going into the first round is very impressive.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. This pick actually worked out pretty well for me. Damn. If I didn't hear about Caleb Banks' foot, I would have went with him. Instead, I'm going with Caden McDonald out of Ohio State. Of course, they just lost John Franklin Myers in free agency to the Tennessee Titans. So now they still got guys on the interior defensive line. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Zach Allen is a better player than John Franklin Myers, but they just kind of could use a run stuffer now with losing him. And Caden McDonald, that's what he's known for. I will admit, there's some stuff left to be desired in the pass rushing department, but let's be honest, the Broncos been atop the league in sacks the past couple seasons. He's filling a different role along this defensive line, and that'll free him up to be able to work on his game and get one-on-one opportunities to potentially hit that next level or two as a pass rusher. But McDonald's just a really safe pick. He dominated Ohio State last year, and Denver, it just feels like a pick they would make. Do you agree? I think defensive tackle is definitely in play for them now.
No, it is in play for them. You gotta solidify the interior.
And hey, Drake Greenlaw gone too, so linebacker could be in play. But in this scenario, CJ Allen went off the board.
I missed that. They cut him?
Yeah, he re-signed with the Niners today.
I didn't know they cut him. I knew Singleton was a free agent, but I'm sure they'll solidify that. So linebacker definitely becomes, a lot more in play there for them.
Did they re-sign Singleton? They might have re-signed Singleton actually.
They probably did.
And cut Greenlaw. I think that's what happened, because I'm looking at depth chart now, and Singleton is slated in, not as a free agent. He's slated in, and Greenlaw's gone.
Yeah, he did resign. I was going to say I missed the Dre Greenlaw, but that makes sense. I mean, that still puts the linebacker in play there for sure. So for the Patriots, they get Romeo Doubs. They give him the fat contract. They lose Stephon Diggs, so I guess that kind of cancels it out. I still think they could very well go wide receiver here. I think they should go wide receiver.
Who's the guy, though? Who's the guy, Reagan?
And that's kind of where I was like, I'm not really sure. And then, they obviously get Vera Tucker from the Jets to go play guard. Great when healthy. Will he stay healthy? To be determined. And then the offensive line was obviously an issue in the Super Bowl. You could go defense, but I don't think you need to go defense here. Like, I think you got to go on the offensive side of the ball. Looking at this board, it's just so tough because there's nobody I love. Like, honestly, if it shakes out like this, I would love for there to be a team to trade back in to come draft Ty Simpson, hopping the Jets at 33. Like, if somebody wanted Ty Simpson, because you don't have to give up too much to get it. The Patriots would be willing to do it. But at this point, we've gone this far with the mock draft. I don't think we added any trades.
No, I was going to do that at 32. I was like, damn, this board sucks for Seattle, man. I'm going to have fucking Arizona come up and get Ty Simpson. But if we're not going to do trades, we'll make a pick for each team. So I'll make a pick for Seattle.
So, man, it's just tough, man. Like, looking at this board.
Yeah, the way it shook out, dude, it's tough for both these teams.
You know what? But I guess I could go. But then they brought in Kevin Byard. Like, I don't know. Do they just go and get like a freak talent and a guy that kind of tested off like at the safety position, do they go and get an Emmanuel McNeil-Warren and maybe just go get the freak talent as maybe, like to be more of a blue chip in the back end, like a chess piece? I mean,
Do they go with another tackle? Maybe. Do they go with another tackle?
You know what? I'm gonna go with McNeil-Warren.
Fuck. That was my pick at 32.
Listen,
you prick. I would be like, that would be so fun with them and Worry on the back end.
At 6'4", for the Patriots to go and get another chess piece in the back end to pair with Christian Gonzalez. I know they brought in Byard, but I just think a guy like that you can bring in as well. So, plus Kevin Byard's up there in age. Like, he's not the long-term answer. If there was some wide receivers I liked there, like if there was a prospect I really wanted, like I was looking at Denzel Boston thinking about it, but I'm like, there's nobody I love there. You still have Kyle Williams. Mac Hollins and Booty are under contract. You signed Dobbs, so I don't think there's anyone you need to reach on in that spot.
Yeah, I think Denzel Boston could have been a play there. Now I'm tempted. I'm tempted for the Seattle to go Denzel Boston here, even despite them adding Rashid Shaheed back. So they basically, dude, I don't know what the fuck Seattle's doing at running back, by the way, because Charbonnet tore his ACL in the playoffs, so he won't be ready probably till November. Walker leaves, signs with the Chiefs. I don't know what they're doing at running back. They signed Emmanuel Wilson from Green Bay today, but that's fine.
He's up to get Jeremiah Love. You have to trade up too far.
They're not going running back here. There's no running back worthy. Like, not even Jadarian Price, the RB2, most likely.
Mike Washington, man, he's shooting up the boards. We saw him go Rashad Penny years ago.
Yeah, Mike Washington, dude. I don't think they're gonna do it. The secondary, I could have went safety for sure. McNeil-Warren to like go next to Emin Worry. That would have been fun. They're pretty set on defensive line, man. Jaron Reed, Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence. Like, they got some dogs. Oh, man. Yeah, receiver, like Cooper Kupp's got probably 1 year left. And like, I don't know. He doesn't really have a big like role anyways. Shaheed's kind of your burner. I know Torrey Horton showed some things before getting hurt.
Well, I'd love them to trade for Chase Brown if that scenario happens.
You know what, though? Like, you know what, Denzel? I'm going to go Denzel Boston, Reagan. You go Denzel Boston. Right. The thing with Boston, he's a completely different type of receiver than everyone they have. Like, JSN is just your craftsman. He's going to get open. He's going to beat everybody. He's a freak after the catch. He's got insane hands, insane body control. Shaheed's your burner. Kupp's your savvy vet possession guy. And then Denzel Boston's that big physical specimen that he's not going to make a ton of guys miss after the catch, but he's physical. He's going to run through their goddamn face, right? And he's got that big frame, really strong hands. I know with Shaheed coming back, you could say they're okay at receiver, but Kupp's got 1 more year, man. And this guy, Denzel Boston out of Washington, just has a different skill set than all those guys. And fuck, he gets to stay in Washington and Seattle. So I didn't even think about that. That's a pretty fun fit as well. So Denzel Boston to the Seahawks to wrap it up. How about that?
Yeah, I was going to say half the reason they paid Shaheed isn't even because he's a wide receiver. And even then, they used him as more of a decoy, it felt like, throughout down the stretch than they did as a wide receiver. Like, there were games where he had like 32 yards rushing and didn't even have it had like 2 targets. So I don't think them paying Shaheed is stopping them from drafting a wide receiver. And like you said, Cooper Kupp is not going to be there for long term. So.
You're right. And with no Walker, man, their running game, you can't expect to be as dominant with Charbonnet on the shelf for a little bit, right? They're going to have to rely upon Sam Darnold, I think, a little bit more in his arm after winning a Super Bowl.
It does become interesting because we could see maybe like a prospect continue to move up and up. But with Charbonnet coming off the ACL, nobody really being out there like on the market, like could they sign Joe Mixon? Yeah, but like what's his deal? Maybe they are a team that will trade a team for their running back. Like maybe there is a team that wants to trade in the 32 that has a running back. Like, I don't know.
Breece Hall, maybe.
I mean, listen, if I'm the
Jets,
would
be the one that kind of makes sense. The Jets move back into the first round,
totally
maybe.
Do that.
Breece Hall, some more picks. Yeah.
Yeah, but they wouldn't give up. No, they wouldn't give up a first round. We'd have to give up something else with it to get if Breece Hall and like maybe 44.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the Jets move up, the Seahawks move back, but they pick up Breece Hall,
Yeah, like go to 44 because we pick at 33, but for a Ty Simpson trade,
I don't know if that makes sense. They want to pay Walker. I doubt they want to pay Hall. Hall's gonna be around the same value. Nah, probably a little less. I don't know.
It
I don't know. Where is he
The
gonna?
Walker thing's weird though, because I almost feel like the way the shit with John Snyder and saying it at the parade, like I feel like that was, I don't know, weird. But what a mock.
All right,
man.
Felt
What a
fans,
mock.
look at this mock. It got real dicey tonight. Some fits we've never had. Monroe Freeling at 6, Jordan Tyson at 7, Jeremiah Love at 10 to the Bengals, Sadiq at 11 to the Dolphins. That stretch right there really threw a wrench in things. We had a lot of offensive linemen slide, but they all got taken that we expect to get taken, I would say. Maybe some tackles could have snuck in there. Wow, that was a fun one, Reagan. Free agency really shook things up for us. So,
Yeah.
Any last words from you, my friend, before we close this one out?
I would just say, hey, if you're listening at this point, like drop a comment. You know, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We're going to be doing a lot more mock drafts.
Almost there,
drop
baby.
a like, but please do comment. Like, where would you like if you're a fan of a specific team? Do you like the pick we made for you? If you don't, like, where would you have gone? Or even if you are okay with the pick, like, who would you do in this scenario? Like, don't just say, "Oh, the pick is this guy" when he's not even on the board. You know, let us know like who you would have gone if you were in the spot making the pick.
Felt fans, we appreciate you. Stay tuned. We got more mocks coming your way, more ball talk. We'll see you soon here on Around the Felt Sports.
Let's go.
Hype the